Greetings, fellow detectives. Wizard Kitten 774 here, bringing you the next video in our walkthrough for Nancy Drew Danger by Design. We just finished doing some excruciatingly difficult prints for Dieter, and now we need to deliver them to Jean-Mi, who I think is at the Hotel de Ville and at the Café Kiki. He is lucky enough to get to work in a cafe and have people come to him. Yes, this is correct. Okay. Let's go.
Oui.
Excusez-moi, mais êtes-vous Monsieur Trequenard?
Please, in English. I do not wish to hear my native tongue butchered while I eat. As for my name,
What's poof?
not Trequenard. It is Jean-Michel Trequenard.
Jean-Michel Trequenard.
Trequenard! Trequenard!
Trequenard.
Enough! What can I do for you, Mademoiselle?
Drew. Nancy Drew. I've just started working for Minette as an assistant.
Oh? What happened to Ezer?
Elzer?
Ezer Mickey.
Huh? Oh, Heather McKay. No, Heather still works for Minette. I'm kind of working for both of them.
Our Lady of the Mask has fired 3 assistants in the past 5 months. I hope you are not next. In fact, that Ezer has managed to avoid the axe for this long is truly remarkable.
Here, I'm supposed to give these photos to you. They came straight from Dieter von Schwesterkrank's darkroom. I printed them up myself.
You are quite doué as a photo developer. Bravo for you, Nancy Drew.
Oh, I thank
Merci.
you.
I was afraid Ezer had forgotten. So, you had the pleasure of meeting Herr von Schwesterkrank, eh?
It sounds like you don't like him.
Not like Dieter? C'est impossible. Dieter is a very enterprising young man, which in most cases is good, but when arrogance enters the picture... pff. So, do you, like Ezer, hope to leave your mark on the world of couture?
I have no desire to design wild and crazy dresses, if that's what you mean.
Then you are an intelligent young lady, Nancy. In the world of couture, a single creation worn by someone famous to a high-profile event, such a dress can be worth a fortune in publicity, which makes it a desperately competitive world. A dog-eat-dog world. A world where bad things can and do happen to good people. You must order something. I insist. La carte, s'il vous plaît.
Oh, but I'm really not hungry.
Mademoiselle.
Thank you. I mean, merci.
Order anything you want. Everything here is superb. And Henri, he is the best waiter in all of France.
Well, in that case...
Croque monsieur, cuit de grenouille, crème de glace, cassoulet, quenelles, and steak haché de pommes frites. Well, if he's paying, I mean, let's get the most expensive things. The cuisse de grenelle? Normally I would get the crème de glace, because I know that's ice cream, but let's try this.
The cuisse de grenouille sounds great.
D'accord.
Merci. Henri, ajoutez-le à mon édition, s'il vous plaît.
Certainement.
Uh-oh. This looks like...
Frog legs. A brave but wise choice. They are magnifique.
If you say so. As we say in the U.S.
Excusez-moi, mademoiselle.
Frog legs.
So, what else do you wish from me?
Do you have any idea why Minette wears that mask?
I believe she is the victim of botched plastic surgery.
Isn't Minette a little young to be undergoing plastic surgery?
Some women with noses that would put birds of prey to shame are perfectly content with their appearance, while others with acceptable features are convinced they are more hideous than Frankenstein. Self-image. It can make people do strange things.
If you had to name Minette's worst enemy, who would that be?
Ugo Batelli, without a doubt. Not only do he and Minette have similar design styles, so that they are constantly competing for the same couture clients, but both of them are unthinking, socially inept egoists. It is a rare week that goes by without one of them insulting the other.
Has it ever gone beyond words?
Not to my knowledge. You ask very curious questions, Mademoiselle Drew. They make me think you know more than you are saying. And as a member of the press, I'm not sure that I like that.
How can I contact this Hugo Butterly person?
His phone number is right here in my digital assistant. Of course, it's extremely unlikely that you will be able to talk to him in person. Even I occasionally have trouble penetrating the wall of sycophants that surrounds him. So, what else do you wish from me?
Do you have a real office somewhere?
When I'm writing my column, I go to my office at Glam Glam. When I'm researching my column, I come here. I have my telephone, which can do everything save sing the Marseillaise, good food, and a chair for whomever stops by.
I'd better get going.
D'accord.
Oh, that's Jean-Mi Trequenard. I don't think he's as bad as the other people say he is. I mean, he's not great, but he's not the worst. Let's go to Place Mong. Or I have no idea how you say that. The spelling in French and the pronunciation in French do not necessarily match up with one another. At least not when you've grown up with the English phonetic system. Ah, so this is where we're staying.
Set your things down and come on over here. Hi, JJ Ling. I'd shake your hand, but I get flour all over you. Oh, and Heather called and told me about your luggage. No worries. I have plenty of clothes in every size imaginable. Your bedroom's down that hall. The airline lost my luggage once, told me it was gone for good and paid me $100. Then 5 years later, my suitcase shows up on my doorstep. And a bill for the $100 they'd paid me. Plus interest.
It showed up 5 years later.
What? You don't believe me?
Actually, no.
Ooh, you're honest, you're smart. You and I are gonna get along great, Nancy Drew. You were right not to believe me. I made it up. See, to be a good model, you kind of have to be a good actress too. So sometimes I make things up, you know, just for practice. Just to see if I can get people to believe me.
You were pretty believable.
I've got some people convinced that I won the lottery and am actually a millionaire. It's kind of fun. You like chocolate chip cookies?
I love chocolate chip cookies.
So do I. And the nice thing is, I'm about 3 pounds shy of being the perfect size 12 that I need to be for Minette. I have a very high metabolism. So, I make cookies, I eat cookies, and since you're here, I share cookies.
Why does Minette want you to be a size 12?
Contractually, I have to be a size 12. See, Minette is into curves, so she designs clothes for full-figured curvy women. Because I signed on to be a fitting model, I have to maintain the ideal size 12 weight and shape.
What's a fitting model?
A fitting model puts on samples from a designer's latest line, so the designer can create each piece on a real live person instead of a dress form. It's not very exciting. In fact, it's totally boring. Plus, you're always getting stabbed with pins. But it pays the bills.
Does anyone else live here?
Nope, it's just me. And you now. Managed to get a short-term lease. Soon as I'm done being Minette's fitting model, I am out of here.
Heather wants me to pick up an envelope from you.
Oh yeah, it's right over there. Heather needed a bunch of personal information so they can pay me, but I refused to give it out over the phone. I'm real paranoid about that sort of stuff. Don't ask me why, I just am. Go ahead and take it to her.
Can you think of anyone who might be out to get Minette?
Well, Dieter, obviously.
Dieter von Schwesterkrank?
He and Minette went out for about 6 months. Then all of a sudden, last April, Minette dumped him. Just tossed him aside like last month's edition of Vogue.
Was he angry?
You'd have to ask him. Just watch out when you're in that photographic studio of his. He lets his pet boa constrictor slither around loose in there.
He has a pet boa constrictor?
That's what I said. Don't you believe me?
Well, I guess.
Hardly anybody knows about it. I think it may be illegal. If you happen to be in there, be careful.
I'll let you get back to your cookie dough.
Okay.
Tricky. It's always difficult to have a suspect that you can't trust. It's nice that she's making us cookies, though. So this is where we're staying when we're in Paris. We're staying with JJ. J.J. Ling. Grower discontent results in mint shortage. Top story. Local mint growers, unhappy with the fact that mint prices have fallen to 15 a kilogram, are attempting to drive prices back up by withholding and sometimes destroying their harvests. As a result, fresh mint is in short supply in Paris, and both professional and amateur chefs alike have taken notice. Not surprisingly, a black market for mint sprang up almost as soon as supplies started to dwindle. Wow. Enterprising vendors do a thriving business in local parks and on street corners, sometimes charging £5 for a single sprig. The rack of lamb is a disaster without my signature mint sauce, lamented Christophe Parmelin, head chef at Le Vert Buffel Bistro, who has been forced to cook without mint for the last 4 days. Interesting. University spends $50 million on upgrades. Minister of Education to resign. Inflation a concern as prices rise. Government aid raised to high post. Interesting. This is such a nice little house. I'd love to live here. What else do we got here? Recycling
Empty.
bin? Empty recycling bin. Phone. Utne, good intentions. They have more power than you think. Paris, according to Zoo. Ask the young Frenchman who calls himself Zoo what his favorite part of Paris is, and he'll say without hesitation, the part you will never see. He is referring to the tunnels and chambers that comprise the city's catacombs, not to the 2 kilometers or so that are open to tourists, but to the 300-some kilometers which are supposedly off limits to the public. For Zoo, who spends all his spare time exploring them, the catacombs are home. The catacombs were created in 1785 when it became clear that central Paris was in danger of being contaminated by its overflowing cemeteries. The remains of their former residents, 5 to 6 million in all, were dug up, carted to the network of depleted limestone quarries that lay beneath the city, and stacked in its empty caverns in huge, artfully arranged, carefully labeled piles. Because of safety concerns, the authorities have sealed off the vast majority of these ossuaries. Anyone caught trespassing faces a hefty fine, but for Zoo and his fellow cataphiles, the threat of capture only raises the volume of the catacombs' siren song. Why do I do it? Mostly because of the quiet, Zoo says. The quiet and the dark. The real catacombs are pitch black, you know. Makes you hyper-aware of everything. Down there, you're as wide awake as you're ever going to be. For Zoo, going down there means donning waterproof boots. It's been an extremely wet summer in the catacombs, coveralls, and a headlamp, but when it comes to finding his way, he packs nothing more high-tech than a hand-drawn map. I don't get lost anymore, he answers with a twinge of regret. At first, I'd get lost all the time. I'd wander around for hours, terrified I was never going to find my way out. Talk about wide awake. But then I started making a map and keeping track of everything I saw, and now, he raises his hand and pats it. I know those tunnels like the back of my hand. Zoo claims to be an expert not only on the layout of the catacombs, but on the hundreds of mysterious marks and symbols that have been etched into the tunnel's stone walls and floors. Some were left by ancient quarrymen, some by 19th century surveyors, and a few by criminals on the run, but everything down there, he says, has a meaning. By necessity, Zoo is also an expert on quick escapes. The tunnel police can and often do show up when least expected. Zoo once eluded them by wriggling out of the tunnel through a 10-meter-long rabbit hole that was less than 2/3 of a meter in diameter. Fortunately, he smiles, I don't eat a lot. The fact that he eats at all is due to the fact that he has a job in his other life, although he refuses to elaborate, reasoning that the less people know about him, especially the authorities, the better. However, he willingly gives out his phone number, which he is confident cannot be traced, and encourages anyone who thinks they know something that he doesn't to call him. I know probably more about the catacombs than anybody else in Paris, he allows, but I certainly don't know everything. Yet. Interesting. Alright. Well, we could go to bed, but I think we can do more stuff. We need to go to Pont Neuf. We need to try and find some items for Minette. We have 195 euros.
To the memory of the French fighters.
À la mémoire des Français combattantes. 1940 to 1945. Okay, cool memorial.
Bonjour. Lequel préférez-vous?
Parlez-vous anglais?
If you buy, I speak whatever you like. I see you over there at the monument with the Cross of Lorraine. You are a tourist?
Actually, I have a job here in Paris, but it's only temporary, so I guess I'm kind of a tourist.
Tourists are good. I welcome tourists. I am Malika. I sell fine things from around the world. The others who sell here, they sell things which they pry from the muck of their basements. You see something you like?
Well,
Well, let's see. These are primary colors, and they're round, and they have, like, they could be striped, kind of, so let's try the rings.
how much are you selling the green rings for?
They are green magic rings. They cost 15 euros.
They are not 15 euros. So you have to barter with these people. You can offend them if you go too low. How about...
Would 8 euros be okay?
Voila. What else do you like?
The tire is intriguing, but I don't think it's like the primary colors that she wants, so I'm not going to try that. That's probably all for now, then.
Guess I'm just not in a buying mood.
When you come back, maybe then I have what you like.
I'll remember that.
Okay. How about you? What do you
Bonjour,
have?
mademoiselle. Monsieur Marchand de votre service.
Bonjour, Monsieur Marchand.
American tourist?
Sort of. Is that okay?
I like Americans. They are smart. I sell good stuff and they can tell. So, what are you going to buy?
Well,
Let's see. This is the spook arm from the Haunted Carousel. And this is the gnome that makes... travels quite a bit, actually. First seen in, I believe, Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. But it might have been seen in Treasure in the Royal Tower as well. Definitely in Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. Let's see. These are primary colors, and they're round. So is this, and it has stripes. How much is
what's
this?
in here? A movie?
Oui, it contains an American short film. I'm not sure if it is about the beloved beast of burden in Tibet or about someone who talks a lot, but it has won many awards. And the fact that it is in a nice blue canister makes it well worth 84 euro.
That's a lot.
I think it's probably worth more like 42 euros.
Vendu. What
Perfect.
else tickles the fancy?
This coffee container, actually.
Can never have too many of these, I guess.
It is an excellent coffee can. I practically give it to you for 7 euro.
I'll give you 2 euros.
Vendu. What else tickles the fancy?
And I am curious about this.
You're selling a manhole cover?
It is a genuine Parisian manhole cover, one which would make a fine souvenir for someone back home. And it is only 45 euro.
What would you say to 23 euros?
Vendu. What else tickles the fancy?
Nothing else now.
I really don't want to buy anything right now.
By any chance, does Mademoiselle wish to earn some money?
Maybe. How?
The tourists, they like to buy hand-painted reproductions of famous works of art. But as you can see, it is difficult for me to paint them. But for a young woman such as you, it is easy.
You want me to paint the reproductions?
You see, the lines are already there. You look at the original painting, you put paint on your brush, you paint between the lines. Voila! A painting which the tourists will gobble up. And I pay you 15 euro for each one you complete. Do you wish to start now?
Not right now.
No thanks. Maybe later.
Very well. Au revoir, mademoiselle.
Au revoir.
Alright. I think we're going to stop here, but we will continue exploring this park in the next episode. Thanks for watching, fellow detectives. See you soon.